Are we still muted?
Good evening and welcome to our Health Advisory Committee meeting for February 24th, 2025. Before we get started, we have somebody on an iPhone. If you could please let us know who you are.
Whoever is, you are muted still. Or you can try put it in the chat. That person out. Wendy, are you on the iPhone?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's
Wendy. Thank you.
All right, so we currently do not have a quorum, so do you want me just to proceed through?
Right, you can proceed because right now we're not voting on anything.
Okay,
So it's just
All right.
as information.
so as we come to order officially, if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We need to take our flag out of the corner. Thank you.
Thank you.
They wait kind. Thank you.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. So I don't have to get approval of the agenda.
You can, because we don't
Okay,
have.
all right. Are there any public comments, Ms. Robin? No public comments. All right, our next item on the agenda is the update from the February 4th board meeting. Dr. Stratos or Ms. Emily?
I can or you can.
You go ahead. Okay. Well, so Dr. Stratos did a wonderful job to walk the school board through all the work that we had been doing and the recommendations that we had for the board. And the board was very gracious in recognizing us and thanking us for our work. And so that goes out to you all. I was remiss in not thanking publicly Ms. Robin and Dr. Stratos for all your support and me for all your support. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, that was good. I think it was as best as it could. So, and what you have is a copy of the executive summary that we've been writing for the board as well as the motion. Those are the first two documents that we have after this evening's agenda. And they absolutely spoke very high and in high support of your recommendation as collectively as a group. If you want, you can go through what this comes down to is a high recommendation to use the hard copy. So it makes it a lot easier instead of this electronic site, and I know there was some pushback going back and forth, but and not to use one of the ancillary materials, if I'm correct, the high school ancillary and the middle school ancillary, because that's where most of the items that we found not compliant with the proviso were within the ancillary material. I explained to the board that when these materials were developed, they were pre a proviso. Proviso came out after those ancillary materials were created. So as such, they were offline. So there was a unanimous vote to support your recommendations.
Thank you. Our next item is to review the state academic glossaries, and we'll pass that torch over to Ms. Gray.
Sure. So the document that you received through email is now a state. It is a state document. So it's an appendix to the South Carolina state standards. So they have added to the back of the state standards this glossary as well as Title 59, which is the document that sort of is the guide and the drive for the reasons why things are included, excluded is because of that. So they're now part of the state standards. Do you want me to talk about the Zoom at this point? Do you want me to, it's a celebration or wait?
No, please go ahead.
Okay, so our steps going forward so that we're all together as a group with this is that, so you all did the work, we have presented it to the board, they approved what you suggested, what you asked. So we have material going forward that now we can be in compliance with teachers teaching. So that we had a professional development day on the 14th. I had Zoom scheduled all day, met with every person who teaches health and PE, elementary through K-12, anybody that wasn't able to attend. I did make up Zooms last week. So as of Friday, every single teacher in Beaufort County that teaches this material has had this presentation on Title 59, because we collectively feel that they need to know the law to then move forward and teach the material. So this paired with the material that you all worked hard to have put through, now we're vetted and we're state adopted and approved in all
We've
meetings.
additionally sent this to everybody physically at their school.
Yes, they received this through the courier so that I could say that I wasn't relying on anyone going to a link. It was you were delivered this material. So this week I'm meeting with all of the middle school teachers face to face with the textbook materials that you've all seen, meeting with them, explaining what the expectations are, and then meeting with a high school department head for them to share with their teams. And then next week is a principals meeting where we'll share all of this with the principals. And then right after that is when we will start teachers teaching this material, because our goal is to have this started and rolling in some way before the school year is over, so that we can count the school year as something, and then we'll move forward with everyone for next school year. So I'm just thankful that the timeline worked out so that we could get it going. So there's that update.
How was your feedback from the teachers and?
There's a little trepidation because this is something that some people haven't done, but I'm so far no one is no. It's just help me understand, almost easing some nerves, which is understandable. But you know, I'm here to help, so we're working through it. But yeah, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna all get on board. So.
And Ms. Pryor has shared with me that she actually met Tom Davis at her church and had brought to his attention the disconnect of the textbooks to state standards.
Good call.
I'm going to speak to the superintendent to have a conversation regarding that as well, because I don't want to speak for you, but he has shared that he would bring information forward as well. So I think it's important that our state teachers know that you have some, local representative who wants to help, as well as our local teachers know, because if there's a possibility of putting a new textbook adoption earlier, because I think the cycle has skipped one for physical education, but
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah. And we have actually a office hours meeting tomorrow with the Dr. Medina at the State Department.
some of you couldn't get in the last. cycle,
Correct. So
correct?
hopefully we can get in tomorrow. I
Okay.
asked additional questions further beyond what I had asked last time. I have not heard a response back, so hopefully that is forthcoming. But also, Mr. Davis told me there's another congressional representative, state congressional representative, who is the committee chair of the educational committee from Beaufort County.
Ms. Erickson.
Yes,
Shannon, I believe.
yes. So that hopefully would bode well in our favor as well, to try and connect.
And what I did ask is that we go forward through the superintendent suite for requests. not just us as individuals, so I will get with Dr. Rodriguez, but we had senior staff with a list of other items today. It is on my list to go vote to in that conversation. In other words, we need the same papers. We need a new textbook adoption. And updated standards. And updated standards to under 17. The national, I believe nationally it's 8 skills. Am I off with that?
Yes, they
Right.
are, but they were revised for both health and PE. There's 5. It went from 5 to 4 in PE, and it's still 8 for health. But they've all been updated. And as we've all seen, a lot of stuff that we have reviewed is very antiquated. So it just needs to be brought up into this decade. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. No, did anyone have an issue with the glossary that you saw?
I had just a couple of comments. I
Okay,
wanted to share.
Sure.
And hope that someday when it's updated, this would be.
sure. Amy, if you beat me to it.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh, here I go. I got it.
Pen and highlighter. Just in case.
And I find this interesting that you say if, because these were just added.
Well,
No one shared that these were added. They just were all of a
So,
sudden,
yes.
Title 59 just appeared as part of the standards. So, and so did the glossary. So,
ask that question.
yeah, because, but anyway, go ahead.
All right, for the word consent to engage in specific sexual activity, this could also include drug use. You could consent to use drugs with a person, friend, partner, whatever. So I thought that would be, gateway drug. And I did substance abuse prevention for a long time. And this glossary says drugs such as alcohol and marijuana. They really should include tobacco.
And vapes.
Vape, tobacco/vaping.
Yeah.
E-cigarettes, however you want it. But tobacco should not be left out of gateway.
Okay.
You're not gonna find many people that go straight to cocaine or heroin. They start with cigarettes and then they move to other
And
things.
alcohol.
Yes, yes.
You said vapes. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then HIV, I do believe they should spell out human immunodeficiency
Mhm.
virus. I know that's a lot, but young people need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And in popular
It's
academia,
Yeah.
you write it out before the acronym.
Yes, that's exactly, so, yes, and then, don't take offense to this, Dr. Pierce. When it says prescription drugs, only be obtained by a physician's prescription, I think it should say should be obtained by a healthcare provider. Because there's a lot of nurse practitioners and physician assistants writing scripts in our world. Okay.
Okay.
Should say healthcare provider, not just physician.
Okay.
It's actually misinformation, Cindy, the way it's written. It is misinformation because you're very much on point that the PM.
And, the D 5.2.1 discuss the influence of peers and family on behaviors related to the use of tobacco products, including smokeless tobacco, no mention of vape products. That was in grade 5.2.1.
Okay.
And where was that? That was grade 5, the standard number 2, 5.2.
Oh, you went in the standards.
Yeah, we sent the article.
Oh, no. Hey, go for it. Okay. So there was no mention of what again? No mention of,
Vaping or vape products.
okay, got it.
I think that was the next
I'm going to piggyback on you with STIs and STDs, and it should be,
sexually transmitted.
which it is in the,
diseases.
it is in the.
Yeah, to be
definition.
consistent with what's in the textbook and others.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I will surely reach out to and say that our health advisory committee can, these
Yeah.
aren't, I
Yeah,
mean, these could be up for suggestions that we could change, so. Yeah.
It's limit shot.
well, I know you are too. I'm like, ready to put my name in the hat to do when they do a review in this instance.
Well, just who vetted the glossary,
Yeah.
you know, like, Did you have any concerns over the glossary? No. Okay. Did you have any concerns? No. Okay. Okay. Good information. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we gave the updates on glossary.
Oh,
It's very like
everywhere.
Did you have anything for glossary? I know you're like,
It's
Part of
amazing.
I think I was
If you look at
cross-eyed.
Title
halfway
59, which is
Yeah.
our law, it specifically mentions heroin and opioids. Specifically. So,
all right, thank you very much.
Yep.
And thank you, Ms. Cindy. So that brings us to the review of the Erin's Law materials. And we have, yes, Wilson.
Christina Wilson.
Yeah, this Miss Christina Wilson from the Child Abuse Prevention Association.
Very nice.
Or CAPA, is here with us to just, I don't know.
well, I was just gonna say, Dr. Stratus, do you want to give a little
Yeah,
backstory?
so let me give context of
Yes.
why.
Yeah.
As a health advisory committee, you're charged with assuring that the curriculum materials we use are in accordance with Title 59. We as a system have Erin's Law, that is law, and we have two providers, right? One is CAPA, the other one is Hopeful Horizon. Both of these providers have had their curriculum materials vetted at the state and approved at the state. Correct.
Correct.
And that's even, the material you use is even in the November 14th, 2024 state memo on an update. Stating facts, right? But we've had some questions from actually two teachers, one at Bay River, I want to say one was another one was a middle school educator. And we've had two parents questioning the curriculum materials. So I wanted to assure that we have our own committee that looks through. We recognize that our providers are aligned with the state. I believe you just went through that vetting not too long ago.
Not too long ago. I think it was right after Christmas.
Yeah.
We had to go to the State Board of Education and present our lessons, just like we offer to the parent, any parent in the district. So we sat down with Ben
Medema,
Dr.
Dr. Ben, I just say,
And they spent a full afternoon going through, and others, there were others. But yes, we are vetted using a national curriculum and approved through the state.
So what I've asked is that we have, CAP has been very, in a short notice to come forward, so thank you. And then for our next meeting, I would ask that we're going to have Hopeful Horizon come in as well, so we could review and get feedback, because this is an open conversation. You have been phenomenal as a group of committee, and this young lady has a long-term relationship with the system and is very much compliant to the state regulations. So speak out of it. So I'm going to turn this over to you.
Sure. So I'll just give everybody a little bit of history because it's relevant, I think, to establish how long we've been busy with the district. I started at Shell Point Elementary School in 1985. And at that same
As
time,
a student.
CAPA, yep, as a student, at that same time, CAPA did its first programs in the schools to start preventing education very shortly after Open Arms Children's. That's looked very different over the years from my predecessor, Susan Cato, doing puppets in the schools to try to make the material more digestible to children on age-appropriate levels, to using when approved curriculum started becoming mainstream, trying to interwork that into the program in the 90s. And up until 2014, when I took over, and it was when I became executive director, it was at the adoption of Erin's Law. And we had gotten some feedback from district teachers that the material we were teaching was dated. The students weren't engaging as well as we would like them to. So we went on a national hunt. This was before the State Board of Ed started adopting programs. And we found an evidence-based program out of Texas called Play It Safe. Play It Safe had been, they reviewed every evidence-based practice that was nationally available in 2014 for abuse prevention to early elementary, and middle school students. Ultimately, after reviewing the materials, April Fletcher Clark, who is our director of programs, and also a master's level educator, came to me with the recommendation that she thought Play It Safe should be what we implemented. And thus it was. Just turns out it was also recommended by the namesake of Erin's Law, Erin, actually recommended Play It Safe. So that carried some weight with us and why we selected that particular curriculum. Years later, the State Board of Education started listing the available agencies who had been vetted by the State Board of Ed as qualified providers. We went through that process and were deemed credible. And Play It Safe was indeed registered as an approved curricula to teach Erin's Law. So since about 2015, that is what we've been teaching in the schools. So the short part of that is it's evidence-based, it's been used a long time, it's used nationally, and it's recommended by the Erin's Law. That is what we're teaching in the schools. And have been since about 2015. Now, Play It Safe, I actually presented to senior leadership at Beaufort Memorial last week, and I think this is a good way, especially in front of people with education backgrounds, to explain it. You know how math, you have to teach plus and minus, subtraction and addition before you teach division. It builds on one another year after year after year after year. Play It Safe is an abuse prevention curricula that does that. So we use age-appropriate language in age-appropriate ways to tell children how to keep their bodies safe and what to do if they're not safe. In pre-K and kindergarten, that looks like animated videos with dolls and very shorter lessons where we're teaching children what safe, unsafe, or confusing touch is and what to do, the 3 safety steps. The 3 safety steps don't happen until kindergarten. So in pre-K, we're teaching them the safety steps. We repeat the safety steps in kindergarten and teach them what to do. So go, run, and tell a trusted adult. So get out, tell someone, and keep telling someone until someone listens to you. We're also helping them identify safe, like good secrets. That comes a little bit later. That's in 2nd grade, I believe, maybe keeps a secret. Where we're teaching them about trusted adults, about good secrets. Birthday party is a good secret, but a bad secret might be something that would make you be unsafe. As the years progress, the material gets more and more age. It goes up just like the child does. So by 2nd grade, it is live video, so it's not animated anymore. And then by 5th grade, we start introducing things like bullying prevention, sexting, about using your phone. And then in 6th grade, that's when you start getting into relationships and more advanced material. The program has, and I'll be very, very honest with y'all, I've considered Kappa when I first came. I thought that the Open Arm, that the Children's Home was our flagship program. And it is near and dear to my heart for sure. But I underestimated vastly the importance of this education to our children. And that was because when I started seeing the kids that come forward who would never have been found because they're taught that what's happening to them is not what's supposed to be happening to them, when they're taught how to tell, when they feel emboldened by their friends raising their hand, my friend told me this, or this happened to me, or the victims that school-based outreach, which is what we call it in-house, has found is staggering. And, that is it in a nutshell. What it's designed to do is to teach kids over and over and over again how to keep themselves safe and what to do if it's not. The material is not what I would call sexual in nature or teaching them something that wouldn't be taught normally in an open forum. It is taught nationally, as I mentioned before. And we are appreciative of the opportunity to continue to deliver those services. And
You're comfortable that it's up to date?
yeah, I think that they could update the videos a little bit, but there's not, I believe in evidence-based material and, to get on the evidence-based clearinghouses and it takes time. So I have the outcomes. CAPA has a robust performance quality improvement program. We are nationally accredited by the Council on Accreditation, so we have to keep up with social service agencies throughout the country. What that means to you guys is that we're not just regurgitating information. We actually have to track those outcomes and make sure that we're making a difference in the children and families' lives that we serve. School-based outreach outcomes are impressive. April and her team have done a good job and continue to do a job year after year after year. We do talk about it quarterly about what trends we're seeing in the numbers, where are we seeing disclosures, where are we seeing numbers go down? For example, just so y'all are familiar with how serious we take that, fourth grade numbers were down a few years ago. And that was because of the maturity level of fourth grade. We couldn't really put our finger on the pulse of why they weren't basically regurgitating the information, because we pre-test and post-test children between third and fifth grade to make sure that what they know before and what they know afterward. Fourth grade was not doing as great as we should. And when I say not doing as great as they should, I'm talking about 80% numbers and not 90% number. April likes outcomes in the 90%. So they came up with something they call Capperty, which is a play on Jeopardy and Kappa, which is where that we ask the material, we post-test with a game as opposed with a piece of paper. And it only took one school quarter, and the numbers went right back up to where we expected it to be. It wasn't the material, it was how we were getting that evidence at the end of it. So that has worked well. So that is an instance of how we try to make sure that we're moving the needle with the curriculum.
If a child speaks up after the presentation about any issue, what is the normal thing that happens? Does that go to the counselor, the social worker? I mean, once the teacher is told, whomever, how does that?
If a CAP employee is told, they go get the school counselor or whoever was pre-identified by the school for,
Could be different.
it could be a district personnel, but that does not relieve our employees of the mandated reporter statute that we fall under as well. So we make sure that if there's a reason to believe, which is what the statute is, that is reported by the counselor or us as a team, as opposed to unilaterally leaving the school and calling ourselves. But that is when we would bring the school personnel in to make the call. It's the school's site.
Just curious, do y'all segregate boys and girls, or you do it?
No,
co-ed?
we do it co-ed. At all ages, yeah. I think that I served on the Abuse Prevention Coalition with Hopeful. So I am familiar with the programs that they teach as you get older. And some of those programs were designed to teach female and man, to split them apart. Our programs were designed to be delivered to a co-ed group. And I don't think there's anything really in our curricula that would make one sex apprehensive of being around the other sex in the program.
We found that in some of the sex education. Stuff.
Right.
This situation.
1000%. There's nothing in there that I think is, when you're talking about reproductive health, you're talking about different organs and different body parts and different functions. If you're talking about abuse prevention, it's all the same, no matter the sex of the child. So I don't think there's a benefit there. Certainly we're open to all suggestions if that ever came forward. We evaluate, every lesson is evaluated by a teacher at the end of it. We look through those teacher evals at our performance quality improvement meetings, and that's how we know at least there's an adult in the room evaluating what we're doing as well. You know, and they continuously, the feedback that we get from the program has almost universally been 98, 99%.
And Christine, I want to first say thank you for the work that you do. It is obvious how passionate you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us do it.
And it is beyond the compliance, because what you do is develop a voice for the young and as well as the young adults, and it's very much needed. And at times we have parents who are concerned as well, and they're advocates for their children. Is there any recommendation that you could share with us? Like, what can we tell parents who may feel like, I don't want Mary to be a part of this? Do you have any suggestions that we could share with our community?
I would say that Mary might be fine. That Mary's best friend Susie might need Mary here. That's what I would say.
Okay. And I recognize it's the law, and nowhere have I read in the law that there's an opt-out.
No, it is very clear because the
There are other components of health and education, reproductive education, but I'm
No,
not.
there is not. And
I
I believe the Attorney General has issued guidance on that. The State Board of Education has issued guidance on that. That there's not an opt-out, that all children should be exposed to abuse prevention
And I believe
education from pre-K through 12th grade. That was the push of Erin's Law through nationally, and as each state adopted their own smaller versions of Erin's Law, that's what our state chose to adopt, the legislature did. So pre-K through 12, age appropriate, I believe is what the statute.
Are you allowed in the DOB?
We have not been in the DOD schools. We've been in charter schools, we've been in parochial schools, we've been in private schools. We'll go anywhere, but we have never been invited to the DOD schools. But I don't know if we've tried. I've never
That's a
asked
good
them.
question.
There are incidents of, there's a need. So,
Yeah,
someday.
and I think that abuse prevention education is important for all of our children to hear, you know, how to keep themselves safe. Because sometimes it's not egregious abuse. Sometimes it might be grooming behaviors, which we teach, or, you know, to the middle school, somebody that might have gone unnoticed from from my generation or a generation before me, or, you know, there are some things that kids, and when it's delivered from somebody else, especially not in the school, they're paying attention to it because it's new. It's like, and I can't tell you all the number of times I'm out in public, if I'm with April or I'm with Ashley or with Cassie, kids recognize them. You know, year after year, they know what they're going to talk about when they come, and they're excited to tell their parents about it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
We also have two board members on, but neither one have indicated they wanted to speak, but just letting you know.
Okay.
That Ms. Gordon is on as well as Mr. Smith.
Thank you for being here. Do either of you have anything you'd like to ask or share?
This is Miss Gordon. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you very, very much, all of you, for being there. Thank you to the ladies from Kappa. I've enjoyed this presentation, and I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes because, you know, having taught children and being around children, I've seen some of those children, you know, and have heard about some of those children. So I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate this committee for having you here today. And hopefully, maybe get you before the board one day to just say what you said tonight, because this needs to get out. It needs to be out, and our children need to have a safe place. And I appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just say, when you mentioned about bringing Jeopardy into the.
Caperty, yes, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I found, I use bingo and Wheel of Fortune, those kind of things they really enjoy, but they really do learn a lot more in that
Interact.
activity. Mhm.
They also, like, we started doing motivational like, stickers for them that we couldn't get the middle school kids to reply to the post test. So, we started giving them a pencil or a sticker. Those are actually very motivational for us to get that data back from them. And I was remiss, I didn't say it, but Play It Safe has a full website. Y'all are all able to go to Play It Safe. You can see previews of each of those videos that I talked about. You can preview scripts of the curricula. It's not the full script. The material is copyrighted, but they do have enough for you to get an idea about what the lesson is about, what the point of the lesson is, and what they're trying to teach in that particular lesson. It is a great resource.
Should you ever have any open forums with the older certain age groups? What feedback do you get after the training?
For like if we do older, like middle school and high school, we get post-tests from the middle school. We don't teach high school. So what I like to say is that Hopeful Horizons and Kappa are on the same interstate in different lanes. It gets very confusing. So her name's Kristen and my name's Christina, and
Yes.
people love to put us together, but we're on different lanes of the interstate. They do high school. We strictly do elementary. Middle school is that time where their lessons and our lessons overlap. So we try to make sure that because we both have limited resources, this program is free to the district. We have to fundraise to be able to pay these educators. We have to do or grants or however it is. We don't want to go into the programs and be teaching the same thing. So middle school is kind of there where we do we have found that we deliver our program best classroom by classroom by classroom or small classrooms together. Hopeful can do larger scale presentations like assembly-wide things. And in the middle school, sometimes they elect to have both of the different subject matters. They'll have Hopeful come in and do a large presentation on relationships, which they're really, really, really good at. And they may have us come in to talk about bullying or sexting or some of the other middle school lessons.
Could you please tell me the website again?
It's Play It Safe.
Just Play It Safe.
I think it's playitsafe.com.
Okay.
Playitsafe.org. And there's two blocks, one that says for schools, organizations, and one that says for parents and individuals. I think that you can see the same material no matter which block you step into. But you can see you can see from TikTok, it was our little dog with an alarm clock around his neck that goes off, it's being alerted to danger.
I heard of him.
Yes, it's not the social media. It's
Yeah,
not
I've
social
heard.
media. It is a blue dog with an alarm clock around his neck. All the way to a child a child, not animated, but a live picture. I don't know what that would be.
Avatar?
No, like a real person,
Oh.
like real people teach videos as opposed to animated. So that they see
Live
themselves, live action, that's it, where they can see themselves in it. But we do teach a lot of it to the kids at the group home, which are teenagers. They get that education too. And so, their response has been, it's been 2,500 kids over 40 years. So.
Mr. Smith, either wanted to make a comment or had a question.
Oh, I was gonna say, is it what it was play? It was play safe.
Play It Safe. Yes, sir.
Oh, play it safe.
Play It Safe.
.org.
Oh, who's asking this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And, well, I think Ms. Gordon Ms. Gordon spoke for me. I'll just say ditto to everything that she said, and this is a very serious thing that I hope that everyone, not necessarily people who are in the room, but people who are not in the room who don't know about this stuff, that they are taking this serious, and then hopefully they will continue to educate themselves in the community with this information, because this is it's a lot taken, and it's a lot of information that that this team has gone over. So I definitely appreciate y'all as well as what Mrs. Gordon said. Everything she said pretty much did. I won't repeat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeez.
That's all it. Unless you have other questions.
Any questions?
And
Okay,
any of you are welcome to come to our office or to call me or to, you know, if you look at the materials and you have other questions or you want to talk to April or you want to talk to some of our other educators. You're welcome.
so Christina, again, I greatly appreciate this. I know it's a quick turnaround
Yes.
and it's not easy to get the executive director.
It's important. I want you to, I
That's
want the
how important
district
it is
to know
to
how important
Yeah.
this is to our agency and to me and to my fellow coworkers.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
A lot.
And we appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to go into the schools, continue to have relationships with the kids and to do what we do.
I think this would be beneficial for PE teachers. I might try to get you on a PD Zoom
Sure thing.
one day. I think that because we need to advocate for this because this is.
Well, how many of these, of the Kappa classes are actually taught in the health and physical education?
I don't even know that is, I just think that if you hear you hear this conversation, that this softens everything to me. This makes it, you make it human. Yeah, it's a human thing. It's just this is what's best for kids. So I think that.
And we are, you know, the Kappa,
good.
I will say the Kappa is we did teen pregnancy prevention before teen pregnancy prevention was many years ago. And we believe in teen pregnancy prevention and reproductive health. But abuse education is a whole nother world. Like we're talking about, we're not even on the same planets. And I think that because the word sexual is in sexual abuse or physical abuse, we're not talking just about sexual abuse. We're talking about physical abuse. We're talking about neglect. We're talking about emotional. We're talking about all the things.
So do you cover Erin's Law and Gavin's Law in your curriculum?
Gavin's Law is a little bit tricky because the statute has not been written tightly.
Okay.
So that is up to the district to decide if you review the statute. Certainly, I think that the 7th grade lesson regarding bullying is relative to Gavin's Law and what the legislative intent of Gavin's Law. I have questions about how, you know, as a nonprofit agency who does this work, I have questions on how do you tell a pre-K first grader or second grader about the criminal ramifications of bullying,
Right.
when they don't even necessarily understand how to order their ice cream. So I think that I think there's things to be worked out. Erin's Law took a little bit of time to get all of the districts on board and what we're doing, you know, how to do it and how to deliver it right and how to make sure that we're all doing what the legislature wanted us to do. Gavin's Law is in its infancy.
Yeah.
I think the materials out there being taught, I don't think anybody is silent on the dangers of the phone. I always tell parents or people who are concerned about what we're teaching through Play It Safe that these are just as dangerous as the guy in the white van.
It's interesting.
That we learned
I
about.
wrote that on my side of my notes. Parents, are we looking at phones?
These things are, and we are seeing it, you know, when our educators go into the classroom, we are getting feedback from them and listening to what they're saying to us. And they're getting younger and younger and younger and younger with exposure. So we could choose not to expose it we could choose not to teach this. That doesn't mean they're not being exposed to it already. They all are. Anybody who thinks different is. Right there, say the same. Those today's nemesis. You know, they're a helpful tool in times of need, but they're also undeveloped prefrontal cortex. These things are dangerous beings. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys and thank you for your kind words on the telephone. That was sweet.
Those are board members.
Thank you, board members. I feel like I should be looking, I don't know how they see me.
I have them on Zoom.
Very nice. Anyway, with that, I will bid you adieu.
Thank you.
But I thank you for your volunteerism, and for caring about this subject. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you. They're a pretty dynamic group.
I will. I can promise you that if something else happens, I will come. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Enjoy, everyone.
All right, so that was our Erin's Law materials. That was great. Thank you for making that happen. That leads us to future topics. That would be a future topic.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Gavin's Law is in the news right now. They just extradited the perpetrator in the last few weeks, so.
Mhm.
uh,
All right, so that's a good one.
And then I have asked Hopeful Horizons to do the same sort
Okay.
of presentation. I emailed her today and I have not heard back yet. So I gave her, Dr. Stratus and I were guessing on a couple of the possibilities for the next meeting date. So I emailed both of those to her to see if she was available. So hopefully I'll hear back. So,
Okay.
You can pass the minutes.
Well, we can, because yeah, but it wasn't on the agenda. So we have to make an amendment to the agenda and then pass the minutes, but we'll wait for Ms. Robin, the officiatarian, to bless us with that. I certainly will. I was gonna say, do you want to follow up, Dr. Stratos? Will that give you enough time to follow up with Mr. Davis or with the superintendent, or no, we don't want to?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
I had a question now, I forgot.
I learned that's in a movie from Malkovich. Dangerous liaisons, not at this time.
Oh.
I had an idea of something that it'll come to me.
Okay. But the dates that we were looking at, Ms. Grady, you have,
They were the 24th and the 31st.
March
Of March,
24th?
yeah.
Or March 31st?
March 31st is what?
Well, we have a couple of things for you.
You're March
We had some future topics. So you just,
Okay.
Gavin's Law and Hopeful Horizons. Well, we're hoping is going to be able to attend.
Those aren't connected necessarily.
Yes.
Right, we're gonna review Gavin's Law.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we
And
talked,
then presentation from Hopeful Horizon.
yes, ma'am.
And the letters that were dismissing the non-active board members, was that?
Yeah, we're gonna review the letter of, already.
So the committee reviews the letter? Or just Dr. Stratus reviews?
yes.
Okay.
Right.
So those are three items.
So far.
All right, and should I
we
have
may
anything else? We
potentially
would
have
have time. Gray, would you be able to pull the items together for Gavin's?
Oh, sure, I can do a summary of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope Horizons are great.
Which brought us to our next potential meeting of either March the 24th or March the 31st.
For me personally, March 24th, because March 31st, I will be traveling back into town.
And that's my anniversary, so that'll
Oh.
I bet that's a double act.
So the 24th it is.
It'd been okay.
That is an exact, but you know.
No.
So the 24th?
Is that
Work
work for
for
everybody? Okay. Do we have unanimous consent for adjournment?
You gonna try to do the minutes, you said.
Oh,
We have a
yes,
quorum.
thank you, Dr. Pierce. For reminding me. So we have a quorum. Can we approve?
We don't have any minutes on this agenda.
Correct. So can we add that onto the agenda or no, we can't? That's
No.
that means everybody has to come on the 24th. So hopefully we can.
Minutes from the last meeting.
whatever
You know
meetings
what?
we're
I can't
missing.
do the 24th. They just put in, I have a presentation I have to do with Robert Smalls.
Well, the 17th is now a school day because that's the makeup snow day.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So you could do
We could
that.
do it on the 17th if you want.
Are you planning to do this again?
Patty's Day.
Just wear green.
So it's now the 17th?
Well, either the 17th or the 7th.
That's a quick turnaround. That's like next week.
No, April.
Oh, okay.
April. In case people do want to do something on a Monday night in Savannah. I don't have that capability.
Yeah, no. Is the 17th good for everybody?
Well, can we attend it? Because you need to find out from Hopeful Horizons as well.
Yes.
So can we tentatively wait for either the 17th or the 7th, depending on what Hopeful Horizons said, since the 31st is not a possibility?
But Dr. Pierce, you're not available on the 7th,
Seventh.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's a no.
What about the following week? Is that the
What
15th,
is,
14th?
That is the start of spring break right now.
Technically,
Ooh.
yes.
For y'all.
It's a work day for us. so.
Yeah, but we work.
We
And if I'm
work,
gonna
so
travel, I
it's-
can go the next day. Ready? Woo-hoo.
Well, let's narrow it down here.
So should we try for the 17th, and if 17th, if Hopeful is not available on the 17th, then we say April 14th?
I'm
Oh, you're
at
out
a
of town.
I just remembered I'm at a training on the 17th
Of,
So let's push for the
March.
17th
of March.
of March for Hopeful Horizons, if not, we
So
should.
she said she's not
at a
training.
Oh, you're at a train.
I mean,
Oh,
if
yeah,
I,
yeah.
if you can exist without me, that I'll,
But we can, but it's nice to have you here.
well, I mean, I didn't mean it like that sounded like comments. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, but I could, if I'm the only hang up, then don't let it be because of me. I'll send her both dates and we'll see. How about that? The March 17th, and you said the other date was
April 14th.
Okay,
Because you're in charge of Gavin.
yes, I am.
Just
So
let
if you're
me
not
know.
here on the 17th, can't be gathered. So
It's true.
In other words, Emily, we need you.
so it sounds like it's April 15th.
Okay. I'll still see if she's available and I'm gonna, but that sounds good to me. Or do you want to commit? You want to commit?
If you're not available
I'm
on
not.
the 17th, and you're doing Evan, I would say we should go ahead and push it to
Okay.
April 14th, if that's okay with everyone.
That's the first day. of
We are
spring break.
committed.
That's the first day of spring break. No one will be here.
I won't be here. I mean, I'll be here. I don't know about,
The district people work on spring break.
I don't.
She's
Oh, that's why she's not 260.
not 260.
I hate that it's me, y'all. I'm sorry. Because I'm actually going to a teacher's wedding who scheduled a wedding on a Monday because of spring break. So
So
All right,
is Monday the only day of the week?
can we meet on another day other
I
than
could.
Monday?
meet me up. Me too.
I mean, I could skip a board meeting and do this.
Robin's like, no, I can't.
So how about Tuesday, the 24th, 5th of March?
I have it for a tentative academic committee. But I
1,
can
2,
change
3,
that.
4, yeah, because that's,
Yes, but we can move it to the 26th. Okay, that's the this board.
Did you say March 25th?
yeah.
I don't have any.
Well, it's an academic committee meeting on the 25th, so now.
But have we published that?
No, not yet. Legislative meets on the 20th.
This is
On the
crazy.
26th.
Yes.
What happens, you know?
I'm good.
But they're in the afternoon, they're in the early part.
Okay. So let's take it 20.
So academics is academics would be meeting on the 25th of March, on that Tuesday.
Can we do the 26th?
That would be scheduled for the legislative, and I don't have a time yet for them. they are meeting on that day, but I don't have a time. So the 27th is available currently.
Wait, can we back the bus up? What about the 18th?
I was just looking at that too.
That's a board meeting night.
Are we
Wait a
on the
minute.
island? I'm just kidding.
Wait a minute. Are we saying what, in February?
March.
No, it's not, because we're not meeting for the board until the 28th, so the 18th would be available
Of March.
of March.
21.
No conflict here.
Going twice?
So March 18th is available.
Putting it on my
Scratch it
calendar.
out about 15 times.
And I'm gonna send her another email.
March
Thank you.
18th.
Yep.
March 18th.
Right, now with unanimous consent, do we have adjourned?
Sure.
All right, thank you guys so very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
The 18th
Yes, ma'am. Of March.
of March. Got it. Because the board is meeting on the 28th as a work session.
So you're not gonna have a board meeting on,
Thank you.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Seriously.
Thank you, Dr. Pill.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Did you just send that?
I guess I did. I didn't.
Good night.
Hi, Ben.
Sorry, no, it's good. Because now it's on my calendar. It's 5:57, Dr.
I understand. Just have to pack up.
I'm gonna try to make it to my daughter's lacrosse game at Beaufort Middle. I told her, I was like, I don't know.
And you're gonna take her, and you'll drive her home.